Story 1. Why You Can't Replace What You Love, The Tale of the Lost Hairpin. Confucius was walking through the countryside when he saw a woman weeping bitterly by the edge of a marsh. Intrigued, he asked his disciples to find out the cause of her grief. The woman replied, "A while ago, while I was cutting yarrow stalks, I lost my hairpin made of yarrow. That is why I cry." Confucius asked, "If you were cutting yarrow and lost a pin made of the very same plant, why weep? You can easily make another." The woman said, "It is not the loss of the yarrow pin itself that breaks my heart. I weep because I mourn an old object, one I have used for so long, and now I shall never see it again." The moral: when we lose something we truly love, no matter how superior a replacement might be, our hearts cannot love the new as we did the old. Often the sight of the new only triggers memories of the past, bringing a pang of sorrow to the soul. Why is this? Because to us, a cherished object is not merely a thing, it carries a piece of our soul, or perhaps the soul of the one who gave it to us. The first spark of emotion is always the most enduring. Even a fox, after 3 years of wandering, will turn its head toward its home mountain before it dies. No matter how far a person drifts, if they possess a shred of feeling, they can never forget their roots. As the saying goes, the northern horse whinnies when the north wind blows. The southern bird nests only on the southern branch. If even animals remember where they came from, how can we as humans ever forget our origins? Story 2. The Dog and the Changing Coat. Young Bu went out on a sunny day wearing a white coat. Suddenly it rained. His clothes were soaked, so he stopped at a relative's house to dry off and borrowed a black coat to wear home. When he arrived, his dog did not recognize him. Seeing a man in black, the dog barked and charged. Furious, young Bu was about to beat the dog with a stick. His brother Yang Zhu ran out and said, "Do not strike him. His reaction is natural. Suppose our white dog went out white and came back pitch black. Would you not find it strange and suspicious?" The moral: we often change our appearance or behavior without realizing it, yet we blame others for reacting differently to us. Before criticizing others' opinions, we must first examine how much we have changed ourselves. Story 3. Blinded by Petty Gain. A man in the state of song lost his dark-colored coat. He went out to the street to find it and saw a woman wearing a similar dark coat. He grabbed her, demanding, "I just lost my coat. You must return this one to me." The woman argued, "I don't know anything about your lost coat. I made this one with my own hands." The man replied stubbornly, "You still must give it to me. The coat I lost was thick and heavy, while yours is thin. Give me your thin coat to compensate for my thick one, and let that be an end to it." The moral: greed can cloud the mind until one sees only their own profit and forgets all logic and right from wrong. In a world driven by money, many people act exactly like this man, demanding what is not theirs simply because they feel entitled. Story 4. Stealing in Broad Daylight. In the state of Jin, a man obsessed with profit went to the market. He began picking up everything he saw, saying, "I can eat this, I can wear this, I can spend this." When people demanded money, he replied, "The fire of greed has blinded my eyes. I thought all the goods in the market were mine. Let me have them, and when I am rich, I will pay you back." The market warden beat him and returned the goods. As the crowd laughed, he shouted, "The world is full of people more greedy than I, who use 1,000 schemes to steal in secret. I take things in broad daylight. How am I not more honest than they? You laugh because you haven't thought deeply enough." The moral: while society punishes the petty thief, it often overlooks the great villains who use sophisticated schemes to betray friends and harm their country for wealth. Their crimes are far heavier than a common thief's. Story 5. The Burden of Doing Right. Mosey was traveling from the state of Lu to the state of Qi when he visited an old friend. His friend said, "No one cares about righteousness anymore. Why do you suffer alone to do what is right? It's better to stop." Mosey replied, If a man has 10 children and only one works the fields while the other 9 sit idle, shouldn't the one who works toil even harder? Why? Because there are many to feed and few to work. Since no one in the world cares for righteousness, you should encourage me to do more, not tell me to stop. The moral. When morality declines, those who stand firm are like pine trees in winter or roosters crowing in the dark. It is the duty of the wise to maintain the path for others, even when the world is in chaos. Story 6. The Art of Living. Yan Yuan asked Confucius, I wish to be poor but feel rich, to be of low rank but feel noble, to be physically weak but have authority, and to live among people for a lifetime without fear. Is this possible? Confucius replied, You ask well. To be poor yet feel rich is to be content with your fate. To be of low rank yet feel noble is to be humble and polite. To have authority without strength is to be cautious and respectful. To live without fear is to choose your words carefully before speaking. The morale, high status and wealth are not as important as one's character. By respecting oneself and others, a person can find a noble and joyful life regardless of their material circumstances. Story 7. Self-cultivation. If you see someone good, try to imitate them. If you see someone bad, examine yourself to see if you share their flaws. If you have a virtue, keep it. If you have a vice, remove it. A person who points out your faults correctly is your teacher. One who praises you correctly is your friend. But a flatterer is an enemy. The superior man honors teachers and friends while loathing flattery. The inferior man hates being criticized, loves being praised, and behaves like a beast while expecting others to respect him. The moral. We grow by listening to hard truths and surrounding ourselves with those who challenge us to be better. Surrounding ourselves with yes men only leads to ruin. Story 8. Waiting by the tree for a rabbit. A farmer in the state of Song was plowing his field. In the middle of the field stood a large tree. Suddenly, a rabbit ran by, crashed into the tree, broke its neck, and died. The farmer picked up the rabbit and was so pleased that he abandoned his plow and sat by the tree every day, hoping another rabbit would do the same. He waited forever, caught no more rabbits, and lost his harvest. The whole world laughed at him. The moral. Relying on a one-time stroke of luck is a fool's errand. One cannot navigate the changing world by clinging to a single accidental event from the past. Story 9. Marking the boat to find the sword. A man from the state of Chu was crossing a river in a boat when he accidentally dropped his sword into the water. He immediately notched a mark on the side of the boat, saying, "This is where my sword fell." When the boat reached the shore, he dove into the water beneath the mark to find his sword, but the boat had moved, while the sword remained where it fell. The moral. This story mocks those who are rigid and refuse to understand that times change. Clinging to old methods when the situation has shifted is like looking for a sword at the end of a journey that began miles ago. Story 10. 3 Lice and a Pig. 3 lice were fighting over the best spot to suck blood on a pig. A 4th louse asked them, "Why are you suing each other?" They replied, "We are fighting for the most fertile ground." The 4th louse said, "You should worry less about your spot and more about the butcher's knife and the fire being prepared to roast this pig." The 3 lice realized their danger, stopped fighting, and huddled together. Because they took less from the pig, it stayed healthy and was not slaughtered, allowing the lice to live in plenty. The morale. When people fight over immediate petty gains while ignoring a greater common threat, they invite their own destruction. Unity is the only way to survive the butcher's knife. Story 11. The Devotion of Husband and Wife. When Fang Xuanling was young and deathly ill, he told his wife, Lady Lu, "I am dying. You are young. Do not stay a widow. Find a good man to marry." Lady Lu wept, went behind a curtain, and put out one of her own eyes to prove she would never belong to another. Xuanling recovered and eventually became prime minister. He loved and respected her so much that he never took another wife. Later, the emperor tried to force her to accept a concubine for her husband, threatening her with a cup of poison, which was actually vinegar. Lady Lu drank it without hesitation, choosing death over sharing her husband's love. The emperor marveled, "Even I am afraid of her. No wonder Xuan Ling is so faithful." The moral. True love is a singular devotion. By remaining faithful in one heart, a couple avoids the misery of complex relationships and creates lasting happiness for their family.